here, and they made specific allegations about which statement they're talking about, that he had not authorized someone else at the FBI to be an anonymous source in news reports. So based on that specific statement, they're going to look for proof that he did, in fact, authorize someone, either by having a person testify to that, or perhaps they have an intercepted communication.
Okay, Keith, on that second charge, what evidence are we expecting in terms of what the DOJ needs to show to prove that Comey obstructed a Senate investigation?
Essentially, it's all of the elements of the first charge, plus the fact that he did it during an investigation conducted by Congress. The idea being that Congress wanted truthful information from him during his testimony. And when he failed to provide that truthful information and, in fact, willfully lied to Congress, he derailed the investigation that Congress was conducting.
Okay, let's say if Comey's statements were misleading, but it was found out that not intentionally so, does that change things?
It does. You know, if it's not intentional, if it's not willful, then it would be much more difficult to prove these charges. But that gets to be a bit of a subjective analysis that the jury is going to get into based on testimony and evidence presented at the eventual trial in this matter. During the trial, the prosecutors will demonstrate enough facts to show that what he did was intentional. And intentional, from a legal perspective, doesn't necessarily mean what we think of it when we discuss it in lay terms. Intentional can be proven not by examining the contents of Comey's mind, which of course would be impossible, but by looking at enough facts around the circumstance to show that he knew what he was doing and he did it intentionally, because you can show a pattern of activity, like perhaps he communicated with others or documented what he was going to do in some way.
And also, can you talk to us about what to expect for the possible defenses that Comey's legal team might raise?
They're probably going to raise defenses around each of the elements in question. You know, they would probably work to argue the materiality of the misstatement. To the extent it was false, it wasn't very false. It was just slightly different from what reality turned out to be, or that he did not know the truth at the time he made the statement, and he did in fact testify to the best of his knowledge at the time.
And how strong is this case? What does it mean that the grand jury, rejected one of the proposed counts against Comey? Is that significant?
Well, we don't really know how significant the evidence is in this case because we haven't really seen much of the evidence here in the public. Grand jury proceedings are entirely secret, and so we also don't know their reasoning for why they rejected one of the counts. When you see a grand jury indictment, it doesn't necessarily imply a high probability of guilt. It's very easy to get an indictment from a grand jury because it is a one-sided, closed-door proceeding where only the prosecutor is heard. Defense is generally not heard in these cases in the grand jury proceeding. So the grand jury, seeing only one side of the story, generally does choose to indict.
Okay, there's another thing I wanted your comments on. Can you explain for us what the Crossfire Hurricane investigation was? You know, it dominated headlines for a long time, right? And found nothing incriminating about President Trump's 2026 campaign.
So based on the Steele dossier, which we now know was funded by the Clinton campaign, it seems that there was a whole of government response in many ways against President Trump's campaign, even before he was elected and immediately afterwards. This ultimately was what we now often refer to as Russiagate, where there was some implication that Donald Trump and his associates were under the influence of Russian operatives. That's since been pretty well disproven. The problem is the facts that were used to prop up this hoax were generated through political means. There were people paid off by the Clinton campaign, and ultimately, they used it to get warrants to secretly spy on Trump and his associates. One FBI agent has already gone to jail for his role in lying to the court for the process of getting that secret warrant through the FISA court.
So, Keith, journalist John Solomon said on the Epoch Times program called American Thought Leaders that this investigation hampered the first few years of the first Trump administration, that it stole diplomatic opportunities and thwarted security opportunities as well. Do you see it that way? Can you comment on that?
Absolutely. I think that in common terms, this rose to the level of treason. The way that the Trump administration's first term was derailed. The people of the United States voted for 4 years of Donald Trump when they elected him to his first term. And they probably got less than a year and a half of that term in true benefit because there were multiple hoaxes, there were multiple impeachments. The government worked against our own president, the people that were supposed to be loyal to him in the executive branch, who ultimately, legally speaking, answer to the president, were actively sabotaging him. They were seeking to essentially operate as a coup to destabilize an elected president.
Okay, Keith, just one last question here. How significant are the penalties, potential penalties in this case against Comey? What happens next in this case? Could this take a long time before a ruling?
It could probably be a year and a half to 2.5 years before we see progress in the way of a trial and ultimate sentencing. Both of these counts are felony counts. Each of them comes with a 5-year prison term as a maximum, which if they were combined, he's looking at 10 years in prison. Plus, because they are felony convictions, it comes with all the other relevant trappings of a felony conviction. No longer allowed to possess firearms, no longer allowed to vote, etc.
Okay, Keith, really enjoyed hearing your analysis today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Drones and the threats they pose were the focus of high-level talks in Europe today. Defense ministers from several countries near Russia and Ukraine have agreed on building a so-called drone wall, a coordinated effort to close gaps in their air defenses following repeated airspace violations. Here's the EU's defense commissioner.
We are facing clear challenges. Russia is testing the EU and NATO, and our response must be firm, united, and immediate. An immediate priority for drone wall, which with advanced detection, which really we lack in some places, tracking of drones and interception capabilities of drones. That joint approach would really help also some other areas like border control to protect ourselves against illegal migration, and that is what we need to have in mind.
Finland, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Poland are leading the project. On September 10th, NATO jets were scrambled to intercept Russian drones over Poland. And this week, airports in Denmark were briefly shut down after drones were spotted nearby. Today's virtual meeting also included Bulgaria, Denmark, Hungary, Romania, Slovakia, plus representatives from Ukraine and NATO. The goal was to assess each country's drone defenses, identify weak points, and improve coordination along NATO's eastern flank. Ukraine's military chief says Russia's spring and summer offensives this year have failed. He added that Russia was firing twice as much artillery as Ukraine on the battlefield. Russia has been making incremental gains across several parts of the front line. Ukraine says small advances are coming at a humane cost that is very high. The Ukrainian commander added that an estimated 700,000 Russian military personnel were involved in the fighting in Ukraine. He also said Ukraine hit 85 military industrial facilities in Russian territory in the last 2 months. Some intelligence estimates put the number of killed and wounded in the war at more than 1 million. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer met with his Canadian counterpart Mark Carney in London today. The bilateral meeting took place on the sidelines of the 2025 Global Progress Action Summit. Starmer said they would be discussing Ukraine and the Middle East. Carney said he commended the British Prime Minister's leadership. The two leaders also swapped their nation's rugby shirts ahead of the Women's Rugby World Cup final between Canada and England tomorrow. According to the Institute for Public Policy Research, the Global Progress Action Summit brings together political leaders, policy experts, and strategists. Today, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer announced the introduction of mandatory digital ID cards for workers in the UK. Starmer described the IDs as a measure to tackle illegal immigration and maintain border control. Here's the Prime Minister.
Every nation needs to have control over its borders. We do need to know who is in our country. Our immigration system does need to be fair, if we want to maintain that binding contract that our politics is built on. Otherwise, it undermines trust.
Immigration has become a dominant political issue in Britain as the country faces a growing number of illegal entries and asylum claims. Hundreds of thousands marched through London this month carrying English and British flags to protest the UK's immigration policies. Starmer said the new rule aims to address concerns about illegal work, the economy as well, and fairness in the immigration system. He said the new digital ID will be required by the end of the current parliament. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed the United Nations today. The Prime Minister talked about the threat posed by the Iranian regime, illustrating the situation in the Middle East using a map. Here's Netanyahu.
It shows the curse of Iran's terror axis. This axis threatened the peace of the entire world.
Netanyahu praised U.S. and Israeli troops who fought Iran during the 12-day war earlier this year. When U.S. bombers struck Iranian nuclear sites, officials have long said Iran was attempting to build a nuclear weapon. Israel has now deployed forces in Gaza City, an operation Netanyahu defended today. Here he is.
The final elements, the final remnants of Hamas are holed up in Gaza City. They vow to repeat the atrocities of October 7th again and again and again, no matter how diminished their forces. That is why Israel must finish the job.
Before Netanyahu started his speech, multiple delegates left the General Assembly in protest. As they exited, attendees in the balcony gave Netanyahu a standing ovation. He began his address once the assembly quieted down. The cruise ship industry looks toward a more sustainable future. A convention in Hamburg showcases the latest developments. Stay tuned for that.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our biggest 3-in-1 sale ever with a limited edition product, a back-in-stock special, and a closeout deal you won't find anywhere else. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get our MyPillow bed sheets, only $29.88. Any color, any style, any size, even kings. Regular $119.98, only $29.88. Once they're gone for good. How about our My Towels? They're finally back in stock, but not for long. Get a 6-piece My Towel set, regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And for the first time and the only time ever, get our limited edition premium My Pillows. They're made with Giza cotton and designer gusset. Queen $17.98, Kings only $19.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get the best offers ever. Quantities are extremely limited, so order now.
What if you could whiten your teeth by simply brushing your teeth? Now you can with Smile Actives, the teeth whitening breakthrough that safely gets your teeth white and keeps them white every day just by brushing your teeth.
I never thought that whitening my teeth could be so easy. I just put the gel on the brush, the toothpaste on it, brush, and I can see my white teeth.
Simply add Smile Actives to any toothpaste and our patented PolyClean technology activates into a powerful microfoam that penetrates into the enamel surface to safely lift and remove stains.
You need a simple way to whiten your teeth. Without strips, without trays, without going to the dentist. And it was about time that a product was developed that you would be able to do that with just brushing.
And now Smile Actives is even better with new Pro Whitening Gel with 33% greater whitening power, clinically shown to whiten teeth faster, up to 8 shades. 100% of users saw whiter teeth. On food stains, coffee and wine stains, even on veneers, crowns, and dentures.
I eat the blueberries, I drink the coffee, and I know that Smile Actives will keep my teeth white every day.
If you could use something so easy like Smile Actives to take yellow teeth to white teeth, why wouldn't you?
Why spend hundreds of dollars for whitening treatments at the dentist when now you can whiten your teeth with new Smile Actives Pro Whitening Gel every time you brush your teeth? Call or go to smileactives.com and for a limited time get new Pro Whitening Gel for just $24.95. Order in the next 5 minutes and buy one get one absolutely free for just $24.95. That's 2 for 1 and save 58%. We'll even include free shipping. Get your teeth whiter guaranteed or return it within 60 days for your money back.
I smile every day now. the difference is literally night and day.
So now I'm always smiling, always choosing, because now my teeth are much whiter.
This offer is not available in stores, so call or click now before the special buy one get one free offer goes away.
A cruise ship convention in Hamburg is looking toward the future. The event is showcasing the latest in the industry, including green initiatives. NTD's Andrew Thomas has more.
This is the 10th edition of Hamburg Port's Cruise Days Festival. The weekend also marked the opening of a new terminal.
Opening a new terminal for cruise business in those days is something very special. And with this new facility, we hope to give the whole cruise family a new reason to visit Hamburg with their ships.
The event is also highlighting environmental and sustainability goals for the cruise industry. Tiziana Murgia is from the Italian Ports Association. She explains how multiple ports are preparing to go electric.
Shore power is something that, for example, in Italy has gone very fast. All ports have funding directly connected to shore power, onshore power supply. So, but now we need all the ships to have the same energy needs that on the land we're able to give them.
Shore power means docked vessels don't have to use the ship's diesel engines while in port. Electricity comes through cables connected to a main facility. The chief electrician explains how the system works.
There is a connection room where it's connected to the generator and main switchboard, and they synchronize together and transfer the energy from the shore side to the ship side.
At the Sea Trade Convention, a new tech zone showcases new innovations for cruise lines. Italian company Naval Progetti has developed sustainable hydrogen-powered shipping. The modular fuel system uses specially designed 40-foot shipping containers filled with liquid hydrogen.
The idea will be to develop a hydrogen ship able to navigate in fjords area in Norway, in the World Heritage Fjords, for 1 day using liquid hydrogen and without emitting any pollutant.
The European Union wants all major ports to offer shore power by 2030. Andrew Thomas, NTD News.
British cider makers are preparing for one of their sweetest vintages in years after a record hot summer left orchards heavy with fruit. Across cider producing region, Somerset and beyond growers and industry groups reported unprecedented harvests. Here's the details.
At Showering's orchard, harvest crews are expecting to collect about 3,000 metric tons of fruit, or just over 3,300 US tons. That's roughly triple last year's poor crop, after prolonged warmth lifted sugars.
You always have challenges when you're farming, always, and 99% of them relate to the weather. And sometimes it's not how much you have, it's how little you have. You just can't tell.
That's orchard master Bob Wadey.
The standout from this year really is there's just so many apples, and when they go to make cider they will love them because they are sweet. There's not lots of water in them, there's a lot of sugar, which is what the cider maker requires.
The National Association of Cider Makers said apples this year are rich in natural sweetness and flavour. Though some fruit is smaller after a generally dry summer, a mix that many producers say can yield complex ciders. Nick Showering is a director at Showering Cider.
My family have been making cider here in Somerset for over 180 years. We started just across the road in a pub. In my time, I haven't seen a harvest quite like this. Not only the volume, where in comparison to last year where we made 1,000 tonnes, this year we're looking at more like 2,500 to 3,000. Also the sweetness that we're going to be getting from this summer's sun, nothing like I've seen before.
Britain recorded its warmest summer on record in 2025, the Met Office said on September 1st, with seasonal rainfall below average in much of England and Wales.
The Chinese Communist Party uses the podium of the UN General Assembly to bury its abuses of world trade and sow discord against the US and distrust. We have that and more after the break.
NTD News, the fastest growing independent news source in America, bringing you breaking news from around the world. Expert analysis, investigative reporting, and original award-winning documentaries. We're known for our uncensored China coverage you won't find anywhere else. We cover the stories that affect you and shape our world without the political noise. We report from the heart with you in mind. Watch us right here on NTD News.
What if kids in America didn't have to go to bed hungry tonight? What if our moms, dads, and grandparents could put healthy food on the table every day to help us grow strong? What if all of our friends and neighbors had fresh food too, and there was no hunger at all in America? And what if there was a way today for you to help? Call now or go online to helpfeedingamerica.org and give $19 a month, just 63 cents a day. So many of us don't have enough food to eat, but your monthly gift means families across the country and in your community can fill plates with food. Kids can get healthy meals year-round, even when school's out, and our neighbors can have fresh food. Food that moms, dads, entire families need to thrive. But right now, more people are facing hunger. Feeding America works from coast to coast with partner food banks, food pantries, and meal programs. It takes all of us to make that happen. Will you help too? Please call the number on your screen or go online to helpfeedingamerica.org and give just $19 a month, and we'll send you this free canvas grocery bag. It's our way of saying thank you for helping to end hunger for our neighbors. Because no kid, no mom or dad, nobody should go hungry in America. Nobody. So what if today was the day you could help nourish futures for our friends, our families, for all of us? Ending hunger is possible. What if we end it together? Call or give online today at helpfeedingamerica.org and your gift can be doubled. Thank you.
According to ancient Chinese medicine, purslane is considered a medicinal herb and is used to help lower cholesterol, improve vascular functions, and prevent diabetes. Perilla seeds can nourish the lungs and spleen. It is used to treat asthma and improve pulmonary functions. Puritine green vegetable omega-3 is made from purslane and perilla seeds from Hwangmae Mountain in South Korea. It contains over 90% of omega-3, 6, 7, and 9, the highest concentration possible without chemical additives. The soft gel is made of natural seaweed. It is 100% organic and vegan. Both adults and children